Hey, Fran fam. Welcome to the Francyne Walker Show. I am your host, Francyne Walker, and this is a very special month. It is my birthday month, but it's not only my birthday month. We're talking music, movies, and money, the great three M's. And I'm excited about my guest who is across the pond, London. I told her I'm so excited. I have an international guest, and I just love her accent. I really do. Please join me in welcoming Yvonne Connikie, the filmmaker and curator from all the way from London, to talk about the Windrush Caribbean Film Festival. Without further ado, welcome, Yvonne.
Hello, hi.
I just love your hair. I just love your whole look. When you popped on, I was like, oh, you are beautiful. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Yvonne. You're a filmmaker and curator. Your biography reads very well, but tell the audience a little bit more about you outside of, what have you done as a filmmaker and curator? And what exactly, I know what curate means, but talk a little bit about that before we move into the festival.
Okay, so I think my sort of trade, if you like, is programming and curating, which is basically to put together a theme of films for screenings. So it may be a screening of just one film or a range of films. It could be over a period of time, a period of weeks or months, or just a one-day event. So I've been doing that for about 20 years, and I started the first festival in 2000. I'm actually born in Wales, which,
wow.
Yeah. So my first festival was in Wales. It was called the Black Welsh Film Festival, and it was really an opportunity for me to highlight Black film in Wales, but also Black filmmakers who were born or based in Wales. So it was the first kind of its kind to happen there, and it kind of was an opportunity to put us on the map, because the UK at the time had a big film festival in London. And I wanted to kind of get in there after I finished uni and everything. And they just said, well, if you're from Wales, you should just do something in Wales. So that's what I did. And I continued to do that for about 8 years. And then my son became a teenager, and I needed to take some time out and make sure that he was okay. And then but during that time, actually, I joined another organization called the New Black, and that was another consortium. It was an opportunity to connect with filmmakers and curators throughout the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in that way. I worked much more collaboratively, and if you like, more sort of backseat things. I did hosting, and I was the chair of the actual consortium itself for a while, and that kind of thing. And then after a while, I decided I'd like to do some more things in Wales. So I set up another platform called Cinema Galaw in Wales, which is a Welsh word which means light.
Yes.
And you knew that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
it's so interesting. I'm sitting here just really intrigued because, I'm thinking, wow, I could see and understand why you would be committed for the last 2 decades of your life to representation, Black representation in the UK. And specifically as it relates to what, as I told you, I'm from Michigan, I'm in the States, and I said, I'm across the pond. And I was so excited when you told me, because I just love people from all over the world, and I just love to hear their stories. And, it's just because we're everywhere, we're everywhere, but we don't see that represented.
Exactly. That's
in the media.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And if we don't do it ourselves, then no one will do it for us. So
no, because no one really cares if we're
no,
represented but
no,
us, right?
yeah,
Because it's like,
yeah.
oh, because and we're looking at it now where we're seeing one of the things we just celebrated, if I can use that term, celebrated or commemorated the Tulsa Massacre,
Mm,
which happened 100 years ago.
mm,
But the stories that get to be told, so that we never forget. So,
right.
that kind of representation, even in a historical perspective, is important. So just
Mm,
hearing you talk about, being committed to that cause is just such a commendable thing.
thank
It is. And I know it's not easy, because anytime specifically a Black woman stands up
mm,
and
mm,
uses her voice via film, and make sure others are represented as well, you're going to get some pushback, I would
mm.
imagine,
Yeah,
correct?
there was a lot of
Yeah,
pushback.
I bet.
Yeah, and it was just the most kind of like obvious things, like, oh, there are no Black filmmakers in Wales,
Yeah,
yeah, and that was very disconcerting. But you build it and they come, and
absolutely.
people would email me from all over the world and say, my mother is Welsh and my father is Nigerian, or you know
Yeah,
but I'm very proud of both sides of my heritage, and I
baby. Yes.
that kind of thing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's really sweet and very empowering as well.
So would you say your passion was part of your driving force to stay
Yeah,
committed?
yeah,
You know,
definitely. It had more to do with my connection and my roots and my desire to create something, to make something happen that wasn't happening, that should always have been happening. Because in truth, like you were talking about, the commemorations 100 years in Tulsa of the riots,
yeah,
the massacre. So
yeah,
we celebrated 100 years of the race riots in Wales. And so,
wow,
this kind of belief that there was no presence, when in
yeah,
fact presence is at least 100 years of presence, of Black presence in Wales. So, it's those kinds of things that people would like to sweep under the carpet, that you have to continually be bringing up to the center of the conversation.
yeah. It lets me know that no matter where you are, there is still that, and it will always be
Mm,
that need to keep the legacy of truth, the
yes.
legacy alive, because I had no idea, Yvonne. I
Mm.
had no
No one
idea
does. No one
of the
does.
race riots in Wales.
In
You
Wales,
know,
yeah.
I had no idea. Now, I'm not surprised.
No, no, of course not.
I'm not surprised, just, and I know you probably get this, or I'll say this: the way it's depicted, and, our connection is, of course, the royal family.
Yes.
Because it's intriguing, even if
Yes,
it's a
yes.
lot of politics behind it. It's just
So,
intriguing, but it's like, oh
so,
baby, it's not,
yes.
it's all that glitters is not gold, right?
No, no.
So, right. And so we saw, you know the as a journalist, I tune in, and it's like we saw the press, and we
Right.
saw the depictions,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
racist depictions. And not so much to go off on that tangent, but it is part of the representation that us as Americans see. But it's like I had no idea, like race riots in Wales, in Wales, it's like, whoa. But it's like it's always especially when you have people of color rising up and finding their place, their rightful place. Let's say that. Let's emphasize rightful. Ain't nothing, we're wherever we are in the world, that's where we're supposed to be, and that's where we get to be.
Exactly.
You're gonna have that pushback because some people feel like we don't have that right. Right?
They're not comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like, and film is one way to always cement that truth. Right?
It is.
So talk a little bit about, so you're talking about the passion. Did your passion start as a child for movies and film?
No, I don't think so. I think from the youngest age, I actually wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
Well, that's what I really wanted, but it just wasn't going to happen. It's just one of those things that for many different reasons that wasn't going to happen. And film kind of happened when I left home, because I was hanging out with a lot of art students, and they used to do a lot of Super 8 kind of visual experiences in clubs. And I got in that way, just using a Super 8 camera and shooting, just things that were around me. I also was working in these clubs late at night, putting on, these images to create some sort of like visual experience for people while they were dancing. And that's really where my passion for film started. So it was before video came about, and then video came about, and then it became even easier to start making film. But I was very influenced by people like Spike Lee, when Do the Right Thing burst on the screen, with all that color and all that energy and all that excitement, and dealing with young people and dealing with racial issues and having a great soundtrack. It completely blew us all away. I'm sure it's the same in the States. It was like, what the hell? But we were also having a very similar experience in London, because we had young Black people who were also making film, and they were connecting with people like Spike. They brought him over and he did talks here. I mean, he wasn't that well known at the time, but we in the Black community embraced him very quickly. And like I said, and also we were very connected with the workshops in LA. You had all of the independent filmmaking that was coming up from LA. Films like Killer of Sheep and Julie Dash's film Daughter of the Dust. Those.
God, yes.
They were blowing us out of the water here.
Yes.
Like, we had to see these films. And of course, and like I said, we had British filmmakers that were coming out at the time, people like Maureen Blackwood and John Akomfra, Menelik Shabazz, all making films that are racially motivated, but also very beautiful as well. For the first time, we were seeing films that we really felt represented where we were at right now. So it was those kind of things that made me believe that I could make film, not that I wanted to make film, but maybe I could actually do this,
Sure.
But I went to university so I could do that kind of thing, but kind of did a slight detour into programming. But at the same time was helping a lot of working with filmmakers, collaborating them, helping them make their films, helping them get connected with lots of different filmmakers. So I was doing a lot of other kind of admin-y things. And it's only recently that I've started to sort of remake films again. And again, it's a response to what's happening here with the Windrush experience, and also to stimulate what's happening in Wales. Because if you want filmmakers to make films the best thing to do is to make them.
Yes.
The
Yes.
chances are more people will do it. You know,
Yes.
if you do it, then people think, yeah, me, I'm going to do that too. So it was really to kind of stimulate that, as well as to kind of keep me stimulated as well, to make
Sure.
sure that I was telling the stories that I wanted to tell, and also looking for new ways, new languages to tell stories. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell.
What do you think some of the obstacles are, as a filmmaker? We automatically know it takes money, but do you think
Mm.
that should do you find that to be difficult to acquire, raise? And I guess it's probably the same across the board for any filmmaker. Do you
Mm.
think that should be something that stops you, or you know what I mean? What are some of the limitations you can run up against as a filmmaker? You're trying to, because you said the thing to do is make films, but
Mhm.
sometimes do
Yeah,
you think people
it's not as
you get,
simple as that. No, it isn't. But it is,
yes,
yeah, it just isn't, you know, and I don't think any filmmaker who is at any level of making film doesn't find that it's hard, no matter who you are, you know,
yeah,
and no matter what level you are eating crap a lot of time.
yeah,
And in fact, one of the first kind of master classes I went to was with William Friedkin, who made The Exorcist many years ago, and I think he did a
yes,
Full Metal Jacket. And
yeah,
he said, you know, what is it you have to learn if you want to be a filmmaker? He said, you have to learn to eat crap. You
wow,
know, you said you have to go into meetings and you have to eat a lot of crap. That is how you be a filmmaker. So you can do that, or you can eat less crap, but then you're going to be an independent filmmaker that perhaps says, you know, I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. But then your films there will be less of them, but they may actually be um, they may own the integrity that, you know, you maintained a certain amount of integrity in order to do that,
sure.
you know. And
Yes, do you think that's a struggle to find that
yes.
balance? Because yes, you want the integrity of your craft as
Mm,
well as, but you also, to me, you want as many people to see your work as
mm,
possible. And it
mm.
doesn't, and let me strike down any misconception that independent means mediocre. That's not,
No, 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 no.
you know,
Sometimes, in fact, it can be the opposite. It could
yes,
be that you want to tell a very radical story, and the people
yes,
who want to finance you want to make it more commercial, or they want you to change the lead, or they want to do something else, and you don't want that. So for
yeah,
that reason, you're out, you know.
yeah,
And uh,
yeah,
well, people think maybe you're a little bit strange because you just won't cooperate or something like that.
exactly.
Mm.
Speaking of films, we have a collection of films coming, the Windrush Caribbean Film
Yeah,
Festival, starting June 22nd through
that's right.
August 29th.
That's right.
Talk a little bit more about the film festival and what one can expect to see during the film festival.
Okay, so the Windrush Film Festival is a political film festival, really. It's a response to the fact that many Caribbeans came to England after the Second World War, and they are now finding that they are considered illegal immigrants in some cases and being deported back to the Caribbean. So that became a huge scandal. And uh, Francis, you know Francis, yes?
Yes, yes,
Okay, just help me out for a minute because I've forgotten her surname and I know her so well, it's embarrassing. But Francis came over, she had a fantastic film called Hero,
yes.
wonderful life of Ulrich Cross. And while she was touring her film, this scandal was going on. So she kind of picked up on that and thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a festival that responds to that. And
Sure.
that's how the festival was born. So the festival is a mixture of Caribbean films, as in films that are from the Caribbean, and films that are by Caribbeans but are of British descent or origin, if you want to say. So it's a mixture of the two things. And the themes this year are carnival and social justice. So we have many, many films from Britain and from the Caribbean on carnival, but then we've got lots of things that deal with social justice. They're very political and politicized. And that's the two themes that are running through the festival this year. Yeah.
So when we talk about carnival, are we talking about not we, I wish I could, it's on my list, where you dress up and you wear the finery and I'm wearing it,
yeah.
Tell me it all.
Yeah, it's all of that. It's all of that.
So when we talk about carnival, and when you mentioned Francis, we were Francis, I believe Francis Ann Brown is the who I was scheduled to speak with. But so she has a film called Hero, and is this part of the festival as well? Will this be part of the festival?
It won't be a part of the festival this year, no.
Okay.
It's now available on Prime Video, so if people want to watch the film, they can just go.
Oh, good.
They can go on to Prime. Is it Amazon? Is it Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
You go on Amazon Prime, you can watch the movie now. So because it's been out for a few years, and we did screen it last year in the festival, but there's no, obviously it's kind of run that level, that course, and now it's gone on to platforms. People can check it out. So it won't be, but the other films that we have in there are equally as amazing and fantastic. We have, like I said, we have films about carnival in the UK, but we also have many films from Trinidad. There's an amazing filmmaker called Christopher Leard that has made over 300 films. We won't be screening all of them,
of course, yeah.
But we
just a fraction.
A fraction of them, and they really go into the culture that's of Trinidad, and carnival and many things to do with Trinidadian culture. We have a couple of films by a guy called Optics Hamilton, again on British Carnival, that looks into British Carnival. We have some films on the Rastafarian movement in terms of social justice. We've got Ishmael Blagrove's film on the Rastafarian movement. We have an amazing film called Cut Me Loose, which really shows the relationship between Wales and Caribbean slavery, which again, nobody would ever know that that there's a lot of Welsh people that made a lot of money on our backs. We have
that seems to be the case all over the world.
Yeah, that's right. We've got another film which looks at the Black Panther movement in the UK. So we had Black British Panthers, and that is, I think it's called Black Power, and that's going to open the festival. I think that's one of the first films. And then we have some pretty kind of intensely artistic films. We've got a film called Stash by a guy called Andrew Wood, which is incredibly artistic and complex, and you're going to have to work real hard to follow what's going on there. Who else is there? Sorry, I'm drying up now.
No, that's okay. So let me ask you this, Yvonne. Is this a virtual film festival, or
right.
so someone like myself or the viewers can actually go to windrushcaribbeanfilmfestival.com starting June 22nd through the 29th, which is a nice length of time.
That's right.
To catch a lot of different
films. Yeah, very different.
Because I think a lot of times, I'm sitting here like, whoa, and just not surprised, but you don't know. So it's almost like these films are our way of expanding our knowledge of, first of all, humanity and the lack thereof sometimes, but also just knowing that we're not alone in this world, that we're actually all one and the same. It's that these films give us this opportunity of connectivity, because it's like, whoa, Black British Panthers, but it just lets me know that the span, you talked about Spike Lee. One of the films that was made, Judas and the Messiah, a Black Panther base. So it's like, so then to have you say, yeah, we had that connection even here.
Yes.
Just to think about the influences one to another. But it's kind of cool that, so I can actually go to the website. And how does that work? Is there a cost attributed to that? I'm sure it is.
There is. I think you can pay something like $25 for a pass, and that will give you access to all of the films over the coming months. And I do believe, and I hope I'm right in saying this, because I did speak to the person who was dealing with it, and she said that means you've got access to the films at your leisure. So you may not want to watch it on the night it's screening, but then you can have a look at it, because obviously, we're all on different time frames and that kind of thing. And people are working, they may be working nights, days, whatever, and they may be even working weekends. So at least then, if they have that pass, they can then access the films as and when is convenient for them. And they can watch what they feel like watching,
That is so great. That is such a deal, man. I've been to virtual film festivals here, and it was just, over a period of time watching. It was just cool. I just loved. It was a virtual film festival, so obviously, it's. We love being able to go places and whatnot, but the panini, I'm calling it anything but the pandemic, has made us, everything virtual. And it's like, I don't mind, So, but $25 or whatever, that's, even if it's $30 or $35, that's a very nominal fee.
Yeah, a small amount of money to watch, I don't know, 40 films. I don't know. There's quite a few films there. And again, the beauty is that you can watch them at your leisure, so it's like having Netflix, but it's all the films.
Are you still watching this? It's like, no, I'll catch it tomorrow. But one of the other things that I don't know, a lot of times with film festivals, a lot of the films are not necessarily what you would call feature length, correct? No. Some might be even 5. I mean, I've watched films and they were like 5 minutes, but they were so impactful.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
So it's like, it's encouraging even to aspiring filmmakers that you don't necessarily have to come out the gate, if ever, making a feature film. Like that's not so much a top aspiration. It's like, tell your stories. Whatever length of time it takes to tell the story and make that impact on the person watching the film.
That's right. I always say that short films are like poems. And like poems, you don't have to have a really long poem that goes on and on and on. A poem can be 4 lines and still have an enormous impact on the
Yeah.
read, you know?
Yeah. Well, it has been a pleasure. You know,
Yeah,
one of
it
the
really
things
has.
that I love about doing the show is the just the amazing people I get to meet all over the world. And I'm just fascinated by you. And, you know, it's just so cool to meet you and to talk to you
Oh,
and just to hear your passion and commitment in an industry that is not always kind
no,
to
no,
women of color, you
no.
know. And I'm not speaking about men because there's no men in the room. I'm talking about women of color, especially when we are, you know, when we're trying to navigate patriarchy,
Sure, sure, sure.
right? And the crap that um, um, the guy was talking about eating, you know, that's some of the crap.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, if he's a white man
Yeah.
and he has to eat crap, how much crap are we gonna have to eat?
Baby, if he exactly. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like the pay disparity. It's like, man, you know, if they're getting $1 and we're, you know, so and they're getting $1 and we're getting 50 cents. So it's like, yeah, if he's talking about crap, that means as a woman, woo, we got to navigate even more crap, you know, because it's like, so yeah. So I appreciate you and your commitment to the industry in a space that again is not always kind to us. And, you know, given the history in the States and across the pond, that yeah, you get the ring. You get the ring. You're the MVP. Yeah. So just want to emphasize before we close, Windrush Film Festival runs from June 22nd through August 29th. You can go to the website Windrush Carribean Film Festival.com. For a nominal fee, you get access to 40 films to watch, at approximately 40 films to watch at your leisure. From January, I'm sorry, I keep saying January, for a couple of months, it seems, almost 2 months. I mean, that's your summer viewing, you know.
Yeah, basically.
Right from your laptop or your tablet, you know, with a cocktail.
Brilliant. Yeah, and your popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. What time is it there?
It's coming up to midnight now. It's coming up.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Now, are you a night owl?
Well, I'm trying not to be, but it just seems that, you know, when things come up, what do? You know?
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you for being here. No cognizance of time as far as like the time difference. So, oh my God. So I guess I should say good night, huh?
Yes, good night. Yes. And just to quickly recap, it's the festival director's name is Francyne Solomon. It's come back to me now. And the film that she has available on Primetime is Hero, The Extraordinary Life of Ulrich Cross. And if you want to really learn something about this pan-Caribbean experience after post-World War II and during World War II, then that is an amazing film. It's an amazing film.
Francyne Solomon was my initial guest.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But man, what a treat, you know. And we hope that Francis feels better. And the name of the film again, so that we can reiterate it.
Hero, The Extraordinary Life of Ulrich Cross. But I think if you put Francyne Solomon and Hero, Google that, it will come up, you know?
Okay, let me go ahead and type that in the comments. Francyne Solomon.
Yeah, you'd have been Francyne and Francis, right?
I know, but I'm going to tell you something. And when people say to me, and I love the name Francis, but when people say, call me Francis, I correct them because
Yes.
Francis and Francyne are still 2 syllables. If you can say sis, you can say scene.
And they're 2 different names, like
They
Yvonne.
are. They are.
Yeah, they are different.
And my mom put that Y in there and named me after my dad. So it's like, yes, I love the name Francis, but that's not my name. But yes, to remember that is a good way to remember. Because somebody called me Franny, and I was like, don't call me Franny. I love you, but don't call me Franny. It's like, Fran, if I say, yeah, you can call me Fran, but don't call me Franny. So you can say Franny, you can say Francyne. So, but thank you so much for joining me. And, just have a great night. I appreciate it because I didn't know. I didn't realize it was midnight there. So are you going to bed or no?
Yeah. No, I'm off to bed now. I have an early start in the morning. I'm just going to chill out for a bit, maybe take a shower and then straight off to sleep.
Well, thank you. Have a great night and a good sleep.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Yvonne.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.